Well, Eagles fans, it is official. We are going to the Super Bowl. Welcome into the All-22 review presented by the Community College of Philadelphia. I'm Fran Duffy, joined by NFL Film senior producer Greg Cosell. We have got a ton of great plays to break down in what was truly a shocking victory. I don't think you and I are shocked the Eagles won, but it was the manner of how they achieved this victory, Greg. And
yes,
we've got
indeed.
We've got a ton to break down. A lot of fun on Sunday night down here at Lincoln Financial Field. Let's get into some of the top plays, starting with Patrick Robinson's pick six. So before we get into this play, Greg, it didn't go well in the beginning of this game for the Eagles. They start off a little bit flat. The Vikings marched down the field a little bit too easily. And Doug Peterson said at halftime that they made some adjustments after that first drive. And I think you know what that adjustment was. Why don't you point that out to us real quick?
Yeah, the Eagles all season have been a high percentage single high safety defense, meaning they play with one deep safety in the middle of the field, and they play either man or zone out of that. A lot of cover three, the zone part of it, cover one, the man part.
Yep.
So on this Patrick Robinson interception, which was the second Vikings possession, what they did was they played with split safety, not with a single high safety. They went split safety, and they played what we call quarter, half. So they went halves up top here and then quarters down below. Now in this quarters coverage, obviously Jalen Mills, he has to run vertically here with this receiver that's right over him, that he's right over here. But now in this coverage, you have the slot corner, Patrick Robinson, he gets underneath here and works into this sort of deep flat area. Okay, so that's what you get here on the quarters side of this coverage. Then we go to Chris Long.
Yep.
And Chris Long, he really makes this play because he is able to beat the right tackle Hill and put pressure on Case Keenum. But Robinson was really important. You just want to point him out one more time because he played with depth, understanding the situation. Instead of staying short and shallow, he played with depth because that throw would have been a tough throw to make even if there was no pressure. And let's see that. So you'll see right here, and try to focus on both Robinson and Long, but you'll see right here, you're going to see the pressure. There's the pressure right here, and it's going to be tough for Keenum, but he's trying to hit Thielen right here on the corner route, but look at the depth that Patrick Robinson gets as really the flat defender. This is really good. Understanding the routes and understanding the situation. Really smart football.
Yeah, and if the Eagles were playing off-man coverage there, Case Keenum's going to have that throw on an out-breaking route,
right,
but obviously the Eagles in a quarter, half, like you mentioned, not a coverage that we are seeing them play.
No, they haven't played that very much at all this season.
Yeah.
So this was really, really well done. Little bit of a change-up. Obviously the pressure was critical, but I really think that Patrick Robinson on that third down play really did a nice job of playing to the down and distance, understanding that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you give up a 4-yard completion. That's irrelevant. Get depth. Play underneath routes, which is his responsibility. Did it really, really well.
Huge play. That really helped get the momentum back on the Eagles' side. Ties the game up at 7, and now the ball starts to roll in the Eagles' favor. So after the touchdown by Robinson, the Eagles defense goes back out on the field. They force another punt. Now the Eagles offense has the ball, and we see the first touchdown drive for Nick Foles in this game. And there were a couple of third down conversions in this drive, which going into this game, you and I talked about Minnesota's defense was historic on third down this year.
Yeah, and I have to admit, I did not expect the Eagles to be really good on third down in this game, particularly third and long. I mean, the Vikings, 25% third down conversion against them overall. They'd only given up 53 third down conversions, including the playoff win, all season long. Think about that, Fran, 53. Now, they're not a high percentage blitz team, but one of the things when they do blitz that we see with them, it's a Mike Zimmer staple, is the double mug, the double A-gap look. So you've got Kendricks and Barr. And one of the reasons they do this is it forces the back to have to pass protect, because the center will take one, and here Kelsey goes to Barr, so they're counting on Corey Clement to take Kendricks if he comes.
Sure.
Okay? And what they often do out of this, which is so difficult to deal with, is they know the back gets eaten up, but they'll drop out the double A-gap defender who the back will get, in this case it's Kendricks, and bring Harrison Smith off the edge, because the feeling is that the back can't do both. He can't look inside and then get outside. So Corey Clement on this third down does an unbelievable job. He sees Kendricks leave, and then he recognizes that Smith is coming from the opposite edge. This is big-time football by Corey Clement. And then what you get is Foles hitting Zach Ertz right in the open middle on a dig route because he has time in the pocket.
Yep.
And this play was really made by Corey Clement, understanding a staple pressure concept by Mike Zimmer and the Vikings, recognizing what they do. That was really, really good.
Yeah, you talked about it. Mike Zimmer, they put so much pressure on those
Yep.
running backs and on the center.
Yeah.
Jason Kelce in this game, and then also the running backs really held up their end of the bargain and showed up on that play. So that third down conversion to Ertz leads to a touchdown run for LeGarrette Blount down in the red zone, Greg, and it was off a staple run concept, the wham play that we've seen all season long from this Eagles offense.
And it's a really good concept against four-man defensive lines and aggressive four-man defensive lines like the Vikings. But what made this one really interesting, first of all, you have Trey Burton here. Now, he's going to end up motioning inside, okay? But you also have Zach Ertz right here. So there's two tight ends who will be in wing tight end positions who are in position to wham the one technique Tom Johnson here. And so Tom Johnson doesn't know exactly where that's coming from. So let's now start this, and you'll see Burton go in motion here. It actually is almost a shift right there. There's the wham. That is about as perfect as it gets. And, of course, we know what the wham does. If you just lose that, Fran, what the wham does is it allows the offensive lineman to get up to the second level immediately.
Yep.
And that's what you want against fast flow linebackers, aggressive fast flow linebackers. So you get the wham, beautifully done. You get Brooks and Kelce working up to the second level. This is beautifully done, and you can see the result here. You get Blount right through, makes a nice move to avoid Terrence Newman, and then, of course, runs over Andrew Sendejo, which you would expect him to.
That's
but
right.
That was, as you said, a staple run concept we've seen the Eagles use all season long, the wham concept, and it led to their first offensive touchdown of the game.
No question. Got to give some love to Mac Hollins there with the block at the second level as well. Eagles go up 14-7, a lead they would not relinquish for the rest of the night. So now as we get a little bit later now in the second quarter, just about 3 minutes left in the first half, and the Vikings are driving, and it's 14-7. It's third down, a huge play, and Derek Barnett comes up with a sack fumble. Greg, this is a play I know you were really, really excited about this play.
I was, because I thought this was really the turning point play in the game, because it was, as you said, 14-7. Even if they get a field goal, it makes it 14-10 late in the second quarter, and you have a ball game. And I thought this play was really, really big because the Vikings had come back and moved the ball really nicely, and you thought, okay, we have a game now.
Yep.
And what the Vikings did here, and it was a very interesting protection concept, one that when you saw it after the play happened, you said, what are they doing? And, of course, that was all over Twitter as well. But here's what they did. They went with a full slide, starting with the left tackle, Riley Reef. Everybody slid this way, and here's what they expected to happen. They expected the tight end Morgan, David Morgan, to work across the formation to block Derek Barnett right here. That's what they expected to happen. Now, they expected the ball to come out with timing and rhythm, and there was an open receiver. But that was the protection concept.
Yep.
So let's run it, and you'll see exactly what I mean. There's the full slide, and right here, they're expecting Morgan right here. He's going to dive at Barnett, and he's going to make this block.
Yep.
That was the plan. Okay, and you see right now, everything looks fine. There's actually going to be an open receiver cutting right in here, and they would have picked up the first down. So as far as the Vikings are concerned, right now this play looks really good. But what happens here is Morgan cannot block Derek Barnett, and Barnett is able to get the sack, and then the Eagles get the fumble recovery. So a really critical play. I told you right when it happened that I thought that was, I didn't know it was going to follow, but I thought that was a really, really big play.
Yeah, I think one of the factors there in that protection call from Minnesota was that we saw so much blitzing from Jim Schwartz on third down early in this game. This was not a blitz, but I wonder if they went with that slide protection just to cover themselves against any exotic pressure.
Yeah, and maybe they thought there'd be a blitz from the side that they slid to. You never know that. You never know why the call was made, but it obviously didn't look good for the Vikings, but it was a really nice job by Derek Barnett using his lateral agility to avoid David Morgan's block and then getting the sack and forced fumble.
So Minnesota, instead of putting points on the board, now give the ball back to Philadelphia with just about 3 minutes left in the second quarter. So after the Barnett sack fumble, the Eagles now have the football, and they are driving. They're trying to score here. And we thought, what are the Eagles going to try and do? They're trying to put points on the board.
Absolutely.
And they go to one of their staples in the passing game, the three-level stretch. Why don't you draw this up for us?
Yeah, three-level stretch or flood concept. What they do here is they do it to the field, the wide side of the field. So what you're going to get is you're going to get the vertical route, you're going to get the intermediate route, and you're going to get the flat route. So it's 3 levels: vertical, intermediate, flat, and that's exactly where Nick Foles looks. But what very often happens on the back side of this flood concept is you get a dig route. This is very common in the NFL. Flood to one side, usually the field. Backside dig, because if the flood's not there, you're going to throw the backside dig.
Sure.
You have a throw that doesn't take the quarterback's eyes too far away from where he's initially looking. So let's start this, and you'll see Nick Foles is looking to the flood concept at the top. You can see it right there. That's where the look is. This is not really defined. And that's the thing. It's really actually smart by Nick not to let this ball loose. Now, he could have thrown it right here if he wanted to, but again, this was 3rd and 10, and this throw probably doesn't get you much, and it doesn't get you in field goal range. Yep. So this throw does not seem viable to him, but this is not defined at all. Yep. So what did we say? You've got a dig coming backside. But here's what happens. Now, we can clear that and run it. You see Alshon Jeffrey down here. He sees that that's not really there, so he adjusts, and Nick Foles does an unbelievable job in the pocket, moving, navigating the pocket, something, by the way, he's not been great at.
Yep.
I mean, this game was an unbelievable performance by Nick Foles, doing things we'd not really seen him do on tape up to this point, but that was tremendous, and that was Alshon Jeffrey. He adjusted that route. That was not a dig and go. It was a dig that Jeffrey turned into a vertical route, adjusting to what was going on.
So many factors that led to that play, and it's easy to say, oh, Alshon, the number 1 receiver coming up big, so much led to that, and it was just great to be able to see it all unfold.
But Nick Foles, to me, that was the play. I think I turned to you and said, wow, because that's not something Nick has really done well. And in fact, for the most part, up to this game when he played unbelievable football, really, the longer he'd been in the pocket, the less effective he'd been. That was not the case against the Vikings at all.
So the Eagles go up 21-7. They get another field goal right before halftime for good measure. Go into the locker room up 24-7 in complete control of this game. So the Eagles get the ball coming out of locker room at halftime, and they put a little bit more icing on the top of the cake.
They're just having fun now, Fran. They're just having fun.
31-7 now after this flea flicker to Torrey Smith. Let's just break this down, because this is some good old-fashioned backyard football on the flea flicker.
There's really not a lot to break down here. This was just a lot of fun. Here's Torrey Smith, who earlier in the game had a ball that he probably should have caught, and it was nice to see them come back to him on this play. But what really happens here is it's a flea flicker. They're going to hand the ball off in the backfield, and Trey Waynes is playing Torrey Smith right here, and he's the guy you really want to watch. You can see it as we run it. You'll see the action in the backfield. It's a toss back. But right here, this is critical, because there's Smith, and actually Torrey does a great job of selling this as well. He's not really flying down the field. But the key part is Trey Waynes. Where are his eyes? His eyes are in the backfield.
Yep.
So he loses Torrey Smith, because Harrison Smith really doesn't do a bad job here at all.
Yeah.
He did not sink down hard to play the run. He stayed deep, because what really made this play too, besides Trey Waynes looking in the backfield, this was a ridiculously good throw.
Ridiculous.
This was about as good a throw as you could possibly make. There's really one place that Nick Foles could have put this ball, and he put that ball right there. You couldn't have handed it to Torrey Smith any better.
Yeah, you're putting that right at the pylon to keep it away from Harrison Smith, and that's exactly where he put it. Greg, I mean,
I don't know what to say, man, because there was nothing in tape study all year long watching this Vikings defense that would suggest that the Eagles at one point in the game were 8 for 10 on 3rd down, which was ridiculous, because the Vikings, as I've said a number of times, had allowed only 53 third down conversions all season long. And the other thing was Nick Foles. Nick Foles made a ton of plays in this game late in the down, either navigating within the pocket or moving outside the pocket. So this was an unbelievable performance by Nick Foles. Unexpected in some ways, even more so given the nature of the Vikings defense, which had been so good on tape.
Yeah, it was just an outstanding performance. All 3 sides of the ball have to get a lot of credit. Doug Peterson and his coaching staff, all the players. Well deserved. We're going to Minnesota for the
See you in
Super Bowl.
Minnesota,
South
Fran.
End. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We've got a ton more that we're going to break down on the upcoming matchup against the New England Patriots. But until then, thank you for joining us once again here on the All-22 Review presented by the Community College of Philadelphia.